Sol stood in front of a small house in a quiet village, surrounded by an atmosphere filled with darkness that seemed to cover everything. Even the sunlight couldn't penetrate through, as the village had been cursed by darkness for many years. But today was different. What she had heard from her grandfather the day before had changed everything. Light of hope, those words from her grandfather's mouth still echoed in her ears. Sol couldn't shake them off. She knew this might be the only way to break the curse and bring light back to the world. She remembered her grandfather's words clearly. If you want to help this village, you cannot do it the usual way. You must find the light of hope hidden in the Cave of Light. But it is not in an easy place. It lies deep in the Trial Forest, a place full of danger. And there, no one has ever returned. Sol knew well that this path wasn't one anyone would choose to take. But her heart was resolute. From childhood to adulthood, she had never seen true light, except the light of lanterns in her house. Every night, her grandfather would tell stories about the light of hope hidden in the Cave of Light, which had once been a sacred place in the past. If I must endure this darkness forever, I will never see light, Sol thought to herself. And then she walked to the storage room in the house, where everything she needed for the journey was kept, from water bottles to a small knife for self-defense. However, as Sol stepped out of the house, preparing to leave, she looked back at the quiet village. Several adults approached her and tried to stop her. "Sol, where are you going?" The voice of Grandma Lucia trembled. Lucia was one of the people who had taken care of Sol since she was a child. "It's too dangerous. You won't survive the Trial Forest, but this is the only chance I have to save the village," Sol replied determinedly. "I will restore this village to normal. You'll face demons waiting in that forest. You will never come back." Antonio, one of the village leaders, warned with a stern voice. He had heard stories about those who entered the Trial Forest and never returned. But Sol wasn't fazed. Not even those warnings made her heart waver. She was confident in what she had to do. She knew how difficult the obstacles she would face would be, but she was ready to embark on the journey to break the curse and bring light back. "Thank you all for your concern. Please take care of the village. I will return with the light," Sol said in a firm voice before stepping forward. Her journey began, filled with hope and determination, while the village watched her leave with concern. As she walked on, the warnings from the village elders still echoed in her mind. She might face many risks. But one thing Sol knew for sure was that no matter how darkness tried to dominate this world, she would not let it win. Sol entered the Trial Forest as the sun began to set. Darkness began to cover everything around her, and the sounds of animals echoed through the air. But she didn't turn back, knowing she had chosen the path she believed would lead her to the light of hope. And the most difficult part of the journey had just begun.